For thousands of years, crystals have cast a strange fascination over human beings. Their captivating transparency, their unusual geometry, and the wondrousness of their colors make them among the most amazing riches on the planet. Each of them serves to remind us that beyond our preconceived ideas, crystals were once born, live, and change, like all life on our planet. Each of their facets recalls a quest for purity, beauty, and eternity. There is one place on Earth where enthusiasm for stones reach greater heights than anywhere else. All those passionate about the subject need an emblematic site. Located in the heart of Arizona, the city of Tucson is a former Mexican settlement, which still bears the traces of Spanish colonization. Each year, the city hosts a unique event which brings together stone collectors, jewelers, and miners from around the world. Spread out across the city's 40-mile expanse, the Tucson Show has become the world's biggest event for crystals and minerals. For all those who attend this huge trade show, the 3 weeks beforehand are a race against the clock. The Kino Complex is without a doubt the most spectacular of the 57 different shows which take place in January and February.
Put to the side for now. This is the largest and the best show in the world. This is Tucson Show. It takes every single mineral, gem, jewelry, beads, everything. All right, that looks good.
Spectacular is indeed the right word for the Tucson Show. Over the course of a week, some exceptional minerals are shipped across the city to reach their respective stands. This amethyst geode weighs about 4 tons and is nearly 4 yards long. It has been shipped from Brazil to Houston before being brought by truck to Tucson. It cost thousands of euros to transport this colossus. Tents for the show are even put up at night. Some can reach more than 80 feet in height and measure more than 150 yards long. This geode has arrived at its destination, River Park. The delicate positioning of this fragile giant is a long and careful process. The 1,800 dealers and exhibitors gathered in Tucson requisition thousands of hotel rooms. The hotels here host a great many stands.
Back in Tucson, we're doing this thing, yes.
When it comes right down to it, Tucson is the largest commercial event on the planet. It's an amazing melting pot, and you see things here that you would never see anyplace else. Each room is a museum. Each show offers a million opportunities.
In a few days, all these sites will be ready to welcome fans of stones and minerals from all over the world. The mineral kingdom is made up our planet for the past 4.5 billion years. During the many stages of this long formation, the 5,000 varieties of mineral that exist on Earth came into being, most of them now gracing the stands of the Tucson Show. But where do these thousands of fascinating stones come from? In the heart of Paris, the Pierre and Marie Curie University is home to one of the world's best public collections. It's a wondrous universe containing more than 12,000 minerals, offering a dazzling variety of colors and shapes, only 10% of which are on show. The curator, Jean-Claude Bouillard, explains how minerals are formed.
The history of minerals, the history of crystals, is the history of our planet. There are several phenomena which allow the formation of crystals. The most simple is cooling. To begin with, you have a molten material called magma, and this magma cools. As it cools, at one point it will suddenly solidify, and after a time, there is the last part, which still remains liquid, where the rarest materials are concentrated. It's in this last stage of cooling that we find stones like tourmaline, beryl, and topaz. Another way minerals appear is when two large masses of rock, which might be hot but not necessarily molten, come together. In the zone where they come into contact, chemical reactions occur. For these chemical reactions to work well, hot water must also circulate. These are known as hydrothermal reactions. Hydro meaning water, and thermal meaning heat. The mineral world has its own rules. A crystal forms because of the position and the successive arrival of different elements. The geometric forms come about because inside, one after the other, the atoms take up very particular positions. The mineral world is a reservoir of color, a reservoir of substances. It encompasses a huge range of colors and hues. To give you some examples, the presence of iron will often result in blues or greens, a bit like copper. Other minerals will give more red colors. So depending on the purity, you have different colors.
These amazing crystals can be found in the four corners of the world. In the north of Tanzania, a few miles from Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa, one of the most beautiful precious stones can be found, tanzanite. Brice Gobin is a trader who visits mines all around the world to source the rarest minerals and gemstones, which he will present in a few weeks at Tucson. This is why he has come to meet the management of the Tanzanite One Company at the Marilani site, a few miles from Arusha, the country's second city. The site belongs to the Maasai. Tanzanite has been extracted from beneath their feet for more than 40 years.
Hi guys. Douglas, good to see you again.
See you.
Anton.
Good to see you again.
Mervyn. Thank you for the invitation. So, how deep are we going now?
We're going about on vertical. We're going about 700 meters on slope distance.
To begin with, tanzanite was extracted by strip mining.
There were some crystals coming out, but I mean, they were really specimen-like.
Nowadays, miners have to go down nearly 3,000 feet to find the gems. The company's geologists know there's no other choice than following the vein as far as it takes them, whatever the cost. It takes more than half an hour to reach the new crystal galleries that have been recently blasted. But they can never be sure what nature will yield. They may find fabulous specimens or inferior pieces. This pocket ripped open overnight looks quite promising, but the selection criteria for gemstones destined for cutting are very strict and leave a lot of waste.
Super.
Quality of your production is very important. You can produce a huge amount of carats, but you need to have the carats together with the quality of the tanzanite. We're talking about the color and then the clarity also, which is very important. Of course, then cut coming into it, but for us at the mining stage, those are the two most important factors.
It's a big block.
Pin them anyway. Oh.
It's really incredible. Tanzanite has incredible trichroism. It's the only gem in the world that has that trichroism. It has a burgundy color. This one's relatively blue. It has some brown. It's rather included. There are some big bits inside that are real gems. What an experience. It was tough, but very interesting. I was very lucky today to be in the right place at the right time. It's quite exceptional. We were lucky to hit a pocket. It's pretty incredible to be there just at the moment when they find a pocket. You can scrape away with the miners and try to see if there are any nice crystals. There aren't a lot of people in the gemstone trade who come to the source. At least that's what I do. We descend 3,000 feet. We share the same tough work as the crew. Then we had a little fun with the stone finder. In the right place at the right time.
This passion for gems, which he has shared with his brother Christophe since the age of 12, was handed down from their father. He taught the boys to detect the quality of the crystals. Contrary to what some might think, the nice gemstones destined for the jewelry market are not necessarily those that the mineralogist would consider a great find.
Collectors want intact, natural crystals. And if the crystal is damaged, it cannot be used as a mineralogical sample for the collection. In that case, it has to be used for the gem market. Precious stones are above all destined for the jewelry market, which is much bigger. The difference between gemstone market and the market for minerals is whether the crystallized rock is broken during extraction. Because as each stone grows, it forms a perfect crystal. And once this crystal is broken, it's destined to be cut. And so goes the gem market.
At Place Vendôme in Paris, the big jewelry houses are also preparing to attend Tucson. Boucheron, Dior, Van Cleef, and of course Cartier have been regulars at this exceptional show.
Now, you have to remember, Tucson is really in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. And once a year, it's gripped in a frenzy for stones. It's all there in Tucson, the most precious, the most beautiful, the most rare, alongside almost fake stones. And it's interesting because we're really there to see what's on the market. And there, anything is possible. So, the marvels of the day. Right, here we are. Tourmaline, beryl, morganite. It's a whole palette of color. There's even an opal and a tanzanite. Now, it's a very nice tanzanite. You know, I really like the shape, but maybe we need a bigger one? What do you think?
The color is fascinating.
Yeah, I think it has a lovely shape. You know, it's completely natural, and so, well, it's very rare. Yeah. It's rare, and the shape is really beautiful. But I've heard about a bigger one, which is supposed to be at Tucson. It'd be interesting to go and see it, because that would allow us to make a more powerful, creation. For a collection of top-class jewelry, what you have to remember is that the stones come first. The stones lie at the origin of the creation, so the inspiration comes from the stones. They transport us, make us dream, and inspire our creations, so we really depend on them to fire our imagination. For a house like Cartier, Tucson is a must. All the jewelers attend Tucson, and it's funny to find all the big players from the Place Vendôme and the jewelry world in the middle of the desert. It's a little insane.
Brice left Arusha in a hurry to head for the mines of Mahenge, 500 miles to the south. One of his contacts tipped him off about an exciting stone. In these open-pit marble mines, they find crystals of spinel on the rock. spinel is a legendary stone, which can be easily confused with ruby, given its dazzling red color and amazing transparency. It was in these mines that the biggest block of uncut red spinel found to date was extracted in 2007. It weighed nearly 115 pounds, and from it, almost 100,000 carats of gemstones were cut.
Jumbo. Habari.
Karibu.
Ah, thank you, thank you. You have some pink?
Pink.
Pink. This is too orange.
Pink like this.
Here. C'est OK? On se déplace jamais pour rien.
We never like to travel for nothing. Here, in this case, we haven't had much luck.
It's a strange color.
Color is purple.
OK.
This is pink.
J'étais censé voir une pierre
I was supposed to see a really great stone, an exceptional spinel. But apparently, some Thai dealers were here yesterday, and the stone has already gone to the Asian continent. So I hope to find it perhaps in Asia or in Tucson.
Alors sur Tucson,
At Tucson, I'd mentioned the example of a geologist friend who was working on emerald deposits and who had visited something like 60 emerald deposits around the world. And he arrives in Tucson and he says to me, "I've never seen an emerald in situ, but in Tucson, I've found 40 deposits that I hadn't seen." Tucson is the place where all minerals come together for 1 or 2 months. For a curator or a collector, it's the greatest treasure in the world.
C'est le plus beau trésor du monde.
The story of Arizona is the story of the conquest of the Wild West, with its cowboys, its stagecoach robbers, and of course, its mines, whether for gold, copper, or turquoise. In those days, people had the choice between the railroads, cattle, the bottom of a mine, or the gallows. Ever since, mining activity has always held an important place in the region's economy. So it's not surprising that the founders of the Mineral Show decided on Tucson as its home. The mining tradition of the Native American Apaches goes back long before the arrival of Europeans. Despite being small-scale, the exploitation of the peridot mines in the San Carlos Reservation is a living reminder of this.
I'm a Native American from the Navajo and Apache tribe, one of the tribal members here on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. I'm prying out with my chisel and trying to find pockets for my business. I love stones. Once I got into it, then that's all I've been dreaming about is peridot. You can talk to any miners, they'll tell you they have dreams about it. So I decided to call my company Peridot Dreams. Tucson, here I come.
Stevie could not resist the lure of Tucson. He knows that Tucson offers him a good opportunity to meet clients, others in the trade, and people who are passionate about stones of all kinds. At last, the Tucson show is underway. The stands have all been erected. The exhibitors are busy with the final touches for the presentations of their stones.
Down. A lot of people think a 4-foot amethyst geode is big. They've never seen them this big.
This is my 35th year at the Tucson Gem Mineral Show. I think it's definitely a unique thing in the world. It doesn't cease to amaze me, even after 35 years.
The Kino complex alone welcomes some 15,000 visitors to its 175 stands. Everything is on display here, from hard stones to uncut minerals, and of course, Stevie's peridot crystals.
That's great, because I met a lot of people so far, all over the world. I got probably about 20 business cards from all people all over the world, and they all want to do business with me. I'm glad I'm here right now.
Among regular visitors, Jean-Claude Brouillard never tires of returning to the show year after year.
This is copper ore. That's the wealth of Arizona. That's part of the job, prospecting in the most unlikely places. This is another stone. It's mucite. It's a mineral quite close to our flint, a fossil radiolarian. When it's polished, you can obtain extraordinary effects, like those you see here. The interesting thing is that it tells a little of the history of our planet. These alternating stripes of iron oxide represent a particular event, which is known as the Great Oxidation, which corresponds to the appearance of oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere.
Across town at River Park, the exhibitors there are also ready to go.
Here's the largest flamestone ever made in Brazil. He made it. It weighs 650 kilos, around 1,300 pounds. It was shaped like Governador Valderas in the state of Minas Gerais.
Giant pieces of quartz, hollow geodes of citrine, slices of agate. These marvels of nature stir the passions of even the most seasoned professionals.
To me, the agates evoke landscapes and especially stormy skies. What I like is the nuances in color, because it looks gray, but in fact, in that gray there is every color. For me, that's the pinnacle of subtlety. It's so beautiful. I could spend hours here.
With the exception of 2 or 3 venues, in Tucson, everything is open to the public. A detail which visiting kids love, and which makes this event so special. Most of the city's hotels, like the River Park, the Holiday Inn, the Tucson Inn, and the Days Inn, are taken over by gem merchants from all horizons, and it is unusual not to find the minerals you're looking for. Lapis lazuli, chrysocolla, amethyst, pink opal malachite, saponite, it's all here.
To be or not to be, that is a real question.
One of the activities in Tucson involving hard stones is carving or sculpture. There are some lovely examples of sculpting here. When you have big pieces of tourmaline or beryl, which often contain a few flaws and which don't have an ideal color, these are often sculpted into objects made from these noble materials. People have made sculptures of fish done in beryl, things like that.
Midway between the Kino complex and the Precious Stone exhibition lies the Tucson Inn. In the heart of the city, this is no doubt the hotel which hosts the most nationalities and which offers the largest range of minerals.
They're good?
Here, the king-size beds take up too much space, so they are requisitioned for displaying shelves or work desks, but no one seems to mind.
For sure. Another reason for them to hate us.
Meanwhile, Jean-Claude is winding up his day at the Kino complex. He has one last meeting with a merchant with some special minerals.
Hi, Ton.
Hi.
Let me see. Closer. Yes, wonderful.
I'm looking for stones which give off another color under a UV lamp. That's a phenomenon known as fluorescence. Tiffany stone is an intriguing mix. It contains opal, chalcedony, manganese oxides, and fluorine. And this mix of minerals produces fluorescent patterns which are very attractive and which make it a stone which is also used in gemology.
A new day begins in Tucson, which means more shows and fresh stones that will set pulses racing the world over. The opening of 2 events exclusively dedicated to cut stones gives the Tucson police force quite a headache. The first of these, the AGTA Gem Fair, is strictly reserved for American dealers. The second, the GJX, is open to gem merchants of all nationalities. Between them, these 2 trade events bring together 1 million carats of stones. With a combined value of several hundreds of millions of euros, these often rare stones are sometimes totally unknown to the public.
What we do here is we leave all our hard stones, aquamarine, tourmaline, sapphires at home. We just bring rare stones, many of the things people have never heard of before.
At the AGTA, Bill Larson, president of Palagem, is setting up his stand with his family. His son tells us about the trade event.
There's probably 1 million carats or more. I wouldn't be sure exactly, but there's plenty of other dealers. I don't know the numbers on that, but I have at least 12 friends who are all showing, and the AGTA is one of the bigger shows here, but there's several other shows in Tucson going on right now.
Back to the GJX and one of the most impressive stands in the show.
We are one of the gemstone cutting factories in Germany, and we are specialized for the hunt of the real McCoys in Africa. There is, in today's world, more people who can appreciate this kind of million-dollar stones than in the past. In the past, everybody knows the 4 big ruby, emerald, sapphire, and the diamond. It was just a lack of information. The people were not aware that there is so nice, different kind of gemstones, what is more rare than the 4 huge ones they know. In comparison to the rarity of a pure big tsavorite, it is 10 times rarer than an emerald with the same clarification of quality. So when the end consumer come to realize that it is much more rare, I can assume that we get in future the same price for a tsavorite than for emerald.
Today, the color is important, and what is also important is giving a certain nobility to stones which were not held in much esteem before. Precisely because the value comes from the association of precious stones with fine stones. And it's rather a shame to limit oneself to a few stones when nature has created this whole variety of stones for us. I mean, it would be a sin not to use them.
A view that Brice Gobin, who recently arrived in Tucson, would be happy to confirm.
Merci. Thanks. Look at that. It's a tourmaline from Paraiba in Brazil, with a really amazing color. It's an emerald shiver, but as you can see, with a bluish hue.
Yeah, you know, that's the first time I've seen a paraiba like that, and I must agree, it's a beautiful color, you know, with great depth.
Yeah, it's an exceptional stone.
In the name of excellence, alongside the shows open to the wider public, an exceptional event is held every year to showcase the most beautiful minerals on the planet. Although cut stones are made from parts of these minerals, for certain collectors, uncut minerals and crystals are worth much more than cut stones. But don't confuse them with the nice little collection of minerals that you might have at home.
All over the world, kids do have mineral collections. I had a mineral collection. When I was a child, I bought those boxes that had the little minerals glued to them, agate, amethyst, all these stones and the names, and I thought it was amazing. And that these little stones that we start with can lead you to collect pieces of the same things that are truly art in every sense, including the value of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. You can have a sample of any species for an inexpensive price. You can have fun, you can collect these things, but good specimens, good pieces, of course, cost more. This table is worth about $2 million. It consists of a variety of gemstones. You understand, tourmaline, aquamarine, heliodor, this is a yellow emerald. Everyone understands these. But some of the most fun of collecting minerals as treasures is to collect the things that are harder to learn about, that you only see in museums and have to learn to understand. It's a giant show made up of many shows. As I became a dealer in the better specimens and met other dealers who dealt in finer pieces, we realized that this is a difficult way to sell good minerals. So we made our own show. We looked at all the shows that were in Tucson and decided this is not the right environment to present really good minerals, minerals at the prices of art, minerals of high quality. We needed our own show. So the Westward Look show was started as an elite venue to show fine minerals in a fine setting. This is a nice resort. It is away from downtown Tucson. It is a pretty nature area, and people can come up here and relax and enjoy the pieces. This is another level. We need to have our own venue.
While a ripple of excitement seems to be going around the big dealers about a mystery deal, Rob Levinsky is preparing to hold his own very special sale.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Westward Look.
Wow. I like this better than the car. That's beautiful. Look at that.
Okay, what are we doing, Steve?
But look at how gorgeous that is. And this mineral is something that I would like to have, and I think you might be interested in my car, so why not make a trade? Bentley calls this car, if you can see the color of this car, peacock blue. This azurite is peacock blue. To me, they're very similar, right? So why not trade a mineral for a car? And then I have a lot of cars, so you're gonna give me a lot of minerals, I think.
It's hard to part with a mineral.
Yeah, I know.
The mystery deepens.
Oh, I'm so glad you answered. It's Cynthia. I'm still at the show. I extended my stay because I think, I mean, we'll find out tonight, but I think I've found the gem at the show. Right, right. I'll look at it in a few hours. That's what I want to know. Are you going to be available? Can I find you? Because there's other people interested. We're going to have to bid, and we're going to have to do it pretty fast and close.
After the treasures of Westward Look, this venue is home to what is no doubt the best collection of minerals in Tucson.
So let's get started on this case here first.
His name is Daniel Trincello. Much more than a mere dealer, Daniel masters all the minerals which come into his hands. With state-of-the-art laboratory preparation,
and a pinch,
he can spend several weeks on a piece to bring out its natural perfection. His perfectionism highlights the unique qualities of each specimen.
Put it over here. Front. That case is almost ready.
In displays that make them worthy of the premiums they command.
Thank you.
So it's no surprise that this company is about to reveal the mystery that has been hanging over Tucson for the past few days.
What do you want to know? You know I can't talk about something like this. Well, let's just say that I'm very disappointed. I was after something very precious, and you know, there's somebody there in front of me. So, and I don't think it's going to get away. I think I did my best. It's something I've known about. It's come out of somewhere in Africa, you know.
Tonight we're holding a special sale. I have 2 stones to sell, which are extremely rare, so there's a bit of stress, a bit of tension, let's say. But I'm confident because it's really extraordinary material, and I'm the only person with it, so that's great.
Maybe you want to look at them one more time?
Absolutely.
Sure it's your last offer?
It is my last offer. My final.
Look at these.
Got my offer.
Right.
I think it's a fair offer.
Okay.
People are weighing the options of this opportunity.
It's a unique opportunity.
They're unique gemstones, that's true, but you know, it's also hard to assess their value and present a fair offer.
Yeah, we recognize that, but at the same time, they are something that you cannot duplicate with dollars.
It is my last offer.
That has an intrinsic value added.
It does. That's why I submitted an offer in dollars.
That's true.
I saw something incredible, and I am confident that the brand that I represent will get the bid. So I'm looking forward to it. That's all I can say.
So are you a buyer for these stones?
It's a great day today to see such wonderful stone. So I know I never been able to buy them.
Well, maybe the others involved will tell you. I'm not authorized to say. Secrecy is part of the whole. I'm not allowed to view these minerals because they ask me not to talk about it.
No one will ever know the destination of these pezzotites, also called imperial morganites from Madagascar, nor how many millions they cost. But that's part of the magic of Tucson.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, hey, I think I have what you're looking for. Yeah, totally. I could be there in like 15 minutes. All right. Yeah, I'll be right there. All right. Bye-bye.
Another feature of this show is how it brings together men and women from all walks of life who all share the same passion for minerals, whether they are billionaires or hermits.
Everybody calls me Barefoot, and I travel around all over selling, buying, trading, and facilitating deals with other people for gemstones, minerals, and things like that. Usually during the summer I do a lot of festivals and things like that. I'll do my gem box and security at the same time, which is kind of strange, but it works really, really well because nobody suspects that you're security when you're carrying a rock box looking at rocks all day. Yeah, I'm one of the most free dealers on the planet. I'm not really attached to money, so it's kind of neat because I can take stones that normally I wouldn't be able to afford in cash and trade several stones for it, and then take that stone and get 2 more that are even more nicer but not as expensive, and trade those for even more stuff to get even more expensive stones, if that makes any sense.
Barefoot's passion for stones is more important than money, and there's no question of him missing the 60th anniversary of the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome everyone to the 60th annual Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. We are extremely pleased that you're here to join us as our guests in celebration of 60 years by the Tucson Gem and Mineral Society.
This is the only show which isn't exclusively dedicated to business, and the only one where the enthusiasm for stones can be read on every face.
The Tucson Gem and Mineral Society hosted its first show in 1955. This is our 60th annual Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. In 1955, a small group of intrepid collectors in Tucson said, good idea. First show at the Helen Keeling Elementary School, 10 dealers. 60 years later, we have 250 dealers and 20,000 guests from all over the world visiting a 4-day show.
Exceptional minerals, sculptures in native gold, cut stones, and mineralogical antiquities. It's all here for the pleasure of visitors and exhibitors alike.
What's your favorite color? Do you see your favorite color in here?
Yeah, we like that one.
You all like that one?
Yeah.
That's very cute. That's a fluorite.
What about the shiny ones like this?
That one?
We have a couple of locations in Tucson. Many of the larger dealers exhibit earlier in the show and then show up again here for what was the original show. And we save some special pieces to premiere here for the top customers. And we also put on an exhibit for the public who may not have known about the other shows. Maybe they only come this weekend. The Tucson show now is so big, we don't even know how big, but this is still the heart of the show. The main show here at the convention center is the heart and soul of the Tucson show. And the people who started this over 50 years ago all come here and remember it. If you can only come for one weekend, it will be here. I think being at this show is better than being at a natural history museum. You can touch things, you see more variety. No natural history museum has so much of what's here, it's incredible.
Access to the show for children has always been a priority, and they are delighted by some of the stands.
Okay, stop right there. We got it. Yep. So, very cool pieces. End up with angel one calcite, probably a little bit of iron in the center of them. So, what do you think, guys?
With representatives from the world's major museums and all the great collectors, this is the heart of the action in Tucson.
The next step for me after the Tucson exhibition is a meeting in the mines at Paula to see a pocket of kunzite. There's a mine there that I've wanted to visit for a long time. That's the tourmaline queen mine.
Tucson is a crossroads for stones, and these treasures will continue their route from here before being transformed into new creations.
Temps juste et ah bah voilà, tout voilà. Bon, la réunion peut commencer maintenant.
Some of the stones we found in Tucson have arrived, so now we can start to work around them. Here's the prize stone, tanzanite, a natural 79 carats, very rare, especially in this sugarloaf shape. Now, you're right to put it on your wrist because it would be just right for a bracelet. Now, in terms of the theme, it would be interesting to go on a trip to Tanzania.
Yes, to draw inspiration from the landscapes.
So you can always have a nasty surprise when you see a stone in a different light, and it's true that the light in Tucson is particularly pure. The stone captures the surrounding colors, and it's different when you see them back here, where the colors are colder. So those warm tones disappear, and then you can really have some nasty surprises. Yeah.
To avoid any sort of nasty surprise, each stone is assessed by a specialist laboratory.
The aim of what we do is to analyze the stones. The most important factor for our clients is the presence or absence of treatment. We know that many stones are heated, treated, or otherwise modified to enhance them. Here we have an exceptional stone, an exceptional tanzanite, which was sent to us by a major jeweler, who of course wants to verify its nature. We can confirm whether it is indeed tanzanite. Then we can use our instruments to check for the presence or absence of treatment. The main stages of this are weighing, various other measurements, and taking photographs. And then we'll move on to some more complex apparatus for some deeper gemology to verify the presence or absence of treatments. So there are various stages of analysis to confirm the stone's true nature.
Meanwhile, Jean-Claude Bouillard is back at his Paris collection.
This year, Tucson was a pretty good haul. The traditional veins were quite fruitful and gave their yield of good stones. The gemstone market is going through some radical changes. There are a lot of deposits that have opened up in the last 30 years, such as China. China is one subcontinent which has opened up, so there's a plethora of new deposits yielding things we never imagined before. Pakistan is another. In fact, all the Himalayan countries are producing a lot at the moment. It's extraordinary. We've never seen that before. Now I'm going to bring the minerals to what I hope will be their definitive resting place. They'll be well presented for the appreciation of the public.
At Cartier, a stone is not just a stone. There is also everything it evokes: a country, a tradition, a history. The designers draw inspiration from this to produce the first stage in the life of a piece of jewelry.
So I decided to hold the stone on each side by sections that are like slabs to give the impression that the stone is bursting out from the snowy top of this mountain.
Yeah, I really get what you're trying to do there. That's really interesting, the evocative power that you've given it in relation to the mountain. You can really see it surging up. That's exactly what it needs. That's all just perfect.
Once approved by the management, the design will gradually become reality. Regardless of its complexity, it can take more than a year to produce such a piece. A jewelry house as prestigious as Cartier, with its inimitable skill, demands the time it takes to achieve perfection.
The metal frame is in grey gold. There are bands with diamonds and 2 bands that are splayed out with little strips. Here I'm checking the adjustment of the stone before inserting it. And it's perfect. The stone doesn't move. Now we can move on to setting the crystals. The crystal is encased to give it more life and not confuse it with plexiglass, which would be a shame for such a fine piece. The total time to assemble a piece like this is about 48 hours.
Like every year, a strange ceremony accompanies the arrival of the minerals from Tucson at the Parisian Museum. These minerals will take their place among the other marvels of nature in these impressive showcases.
It's a collection that is more than 2 centuries old, which was created at the Sorbonne and which has now become the collection of the Pierre and Marie Curie University. Its primary missions were for teaching and research, which it continues to carry out. But there is a third museum mission, which involves presenting to the public the most extraordinary offerings of the mineral world, which means trying to obtain the best specimens with the resources we have, at least the best we can afford.
The Paris collection today has some 1,400 specimens on show, and the quest for new pieces is endless. Jean-Claude knows these splendors will always be here on display, and that he can contemplate them without ever tiring of their exceptional beauty. For Jacqueline Karachi, things are very different. On the contrary, she has to get used to seeing works that have been created here over many months head off to new homes.
Seeing a piece of fine jewelry to which we have dedicated months of work go out of the door means that the piece has been immediately accepted and loved. That means it touched someone's heart, but above all, it means we were not wrong, and that a love affair which is over for us is a love affair that is beginning for someone else. Over and over, history carries on. There's no reason to become attached. We loved them, and perhaps one day they may be part of our Cartier retrospectives, and then they will be raised to the ranks of works of art. What could be greater recognition for us than seeing our creations attaining the status of art? The real destiny of a jewel is to be worn, to be loved and admired. So now we have to pass them on and hope they'll be appreciated.
And here we go, this is the mine now. We're arriving at the ocean view. It's a pretty fun mine.
As planned, Brees meets Carl Larson on the site at the Pala Mine in California, on yet another quest for the ultimate gemstone. Bill Larson and his family have been exploiting their own mines here for several years, extracting tourmaline and kunzite. This passion can take on the proportions of a fever that rules over one's daily life.
What the hell is that?
What is that? I think it's a kunzite.
It's going to be purple. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up. Continue. That's a good zone. My family moved here when I was 8 years old, and my dad would support whatever hobby I had, butterflies or whatever, and minerals stuck. We came to Pala when I was literally 8.5 years old. We found a shoral tourmaline on this mountain, Chief Mountain.
We started in the mines when we were very young, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and when you pull something like that out of the ground, you get an energy and excitement that nothing else in the world can give you.
Mining has been and always will be something that's a part of the Larson family. We've been mining since we were born, and Dad's been mining since 1969. And is it a passion? Yes. Is it a sickness? Probably as well. But we all love it.
It's in our vein. It never stops. It's like a circle that has no end, because the passion is so deep that we have to find. Even if we found something great, we're happy, but we look forward to the next one.
It's perhaps a subconscious desire which ensnares the hearts and souls of those who lose themselves in the sparkle of these crystals, an addiction to beauty, to all that's rare or unique, and which irresistibly pulls one back to where everything began. There where these countless crystals still lie dormant after billions of years, yet to be torn from the earth, for the pleasure of contemplating them, that nature will never cease to astound us.